Today we're going to be looking at Neil Young's Like a Hurricane from his album American Stars and Bars way back in the 70s. And this is a tour de force with 8 minutes or so of savage electric guitar. And because it is such a manifesto, if you will, we're only going to be scratching the surface. I'm going to be showing you the framework for where the solos take place, including some of what I think are the classic licks, the signature licks from the solos. I'm going to be showing you the intro, both how he plays it on the album and live. And we're going to start off with looking at the framework of the chord progression very quickly just to get us started. The song is in A minor. And the main chord progression is just walking down from A minor, G, to F, which is played as an F major 7th, keeping that E note on the first string open. This is during the verse. During the chorus it's played as an F major. But F major 7 during the verse, and then down to E minor, which is often played with the 7th, E minor 7, the 7th added there on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. And then after that E minor or E minor 7th, going back to the G, before restarting with the A minor. That is the verse and the intro and the backing track for all the solos. The You Are Like a Hurricane chorus is C, G, and F. To A minor for the verse. You notice there was a little walk up, just really basic G, A, B, C up to the C chord. And you notice that we were playing F major, not F major 7 during the chorus. Alright, that is the chord progression. Now let's get to the fun stuff. The intro, Neil plays differently on the original studio recording then he has subsequently played it live, which is kind of interesting because it's a big difference. And I'm not sure why, but that's what he does. And you know, like Keith Richards, who we've looked at quite a bit, Neil never plays the same thing twice, you know, which makes it so difficult to really figure some of this stuff out. So we're going to get in the ballpark. That's the goal. Because on the studio recording, he plays the intro as octaves. And we haven't really talked about octaves too much yet, but essentially what you're doing is you're playing 2 notes together that are 1 octave apart. And you should know this if you play your basic bar chord shapes. You've got your octave there. Play this bar chord shape. So on these lower strings, the octaves are 2 frets apart. But when we get up to the higher strings, they're 3 frets apart. And we are working on the higher strings with Like a Hurricane. We're starting out with the E note. So we're at the 9th and 12th frets. You're playing this with your index finger and your pinky. You can use your fingers with your right hand or a pick. That's essentially the intro. Okay, so the E note, the D note, the C, the B, to the C, then and then the last time down to the A before BC. Now it's good to have some delay on. I've got a little delay. I've got the reverb from the Princeton. But that's pretty cool, isn't it? I think so. And that figure, like a motif, comes back and Neil starts several of the solos. Actually, I think all three of them, basically, he incorporates that one way or the other into it. So that's the way Neil plays it on the original studio album, American Stars and Bars. He plays it with the octaves. But in all the times I've seen him live, which I think is 6, and all the YouTube videos I've seen, I don't see him doing the octave thing. What he does live, when he's not playing it on the organ solo, I'm talking about when he's going full electric with Crazy Horse, plays the intro more as single notes, not the octaves, occasionally filling in some crunch from the full chords here at the first position. And it's kind of neat because it shows you that all of Neil's solos are right out of the chords that he's playing over. Now, I mean, these same notes, the E, D, C, B, and A, those are the notes of all the solos for the most part. They'll be played up higher, but they're all going to be following the chord progression in the way of the intro melody. Okay? So when he plays it as a solo note thing, it kind of goes like this. Hits that D, gives it a little crunch from the G chord, and that's where the full band comes in. It's playing a lot more overdriven than I can do here to have the camera pick it up. So that's where I see him slide up when he'll go. Leading into that F major 7. You know, lots of times he'll use that open E as a drone note, doubling it, of course, when you're sliding up to the E note on the 2nd string, 5th fret. Okay, so that's the live version of the intro. We then, of course, go into the first verse. This whole song is verse, chorus, solo, verse, chorus, solo, verse, chorus, solo. 3 times, okay? The first solo comes in at, oh, let me show you one fill. There's a fill that I've seen him play live, and it's also on the original studio recording. After the first verse, over the E minor to the, he plays this, back down to the A minor, so it's just a C, B, A, G, and he's hitting the open strings. He does it in this really offhand, effortless way, the way he throws it in. It's very cool. And I haven't seen that tabbed anywhere. There isn't really great tab. Well, I take that back. There's one great tab that I found for this, and it's at hyperrust.org. If you're a Neo fan and you've never been to Hyperrust, you're in for a treat. It's an awesome website. So I thank whoever did the tab there. It is fantastic. It has all the solos. That one little fill, I don't know if I have it right, because like I said, I couldn't find it tabbed anywhere. Alright, so after that first verse chorus comes the first solo, and the first solo on the album is just the intro played as single notes. And he might be playing it up here. 5th position, A minor pentatonic, or open. To me it sounds like open, which is again the way I've seen him play it live. That's the first solo. Alright? Now, the second solo, which starts at 224, he starts off going back to the octave thing. He just goes... He just hits that 9 and 12 octave of the E note over and over the full chord progression. And then he launches into the first real solo that's not just the melody line. Now all the rest of the solos, other than when he's playing the octave riff, are up here at the 12th position A minor pentatonic and an incredibly small number of notes. 12th and 14th fret. Okay, pretty much staying on those 4 top strings. I don't think he goes below that once. The one note outside of the A minor pentatonic that he hits is the B note at the 15th, or the 12th note. The 12th fret on the B string. And the reason he's hitting that B note outside of the A minor pentatonic scale is 2 of the chords in the progression, the G chord and the E minor, both have B notes in them. So he's going to hit that B note a lot when he's over those chords. Okay? So the solo launches with... doing a lot with those notes playing is a lot of that first solo, and then he ends it with just really bending. He does a lot of bending of that 15th fret G note up to the A, the tonic, the chord of the, or the note of the key. And then he goes... He comes up with it. He starts just kind of riffing around on those octaves, but he eventually comes up to the 12th and 15th fret. Really bending that G note up a full step and coming down a bit. He does this cool little move at 332 that goes like this. Something along those lines. So again, 3rd string, 12 and 14, and then 2nd string, 13 and 15. And you're giving that 15th fret 2nd string a half bend up, so it's coming close to meeting the E that you're hitting there at the 12th fret 1st string, because you're bending a D note up towards the E, right? And then then he starts climbing up and he ends up at the 20th fret up here. And he goes... which is just a really sweet, very kind of violin-like downward melody that he plays. So it's 20, 19, 17, back to 19, 15, 12, 10, 8, 7. Those are the same notes we've been playing. And then he gets, then he does more octaves, just again kind of loosely flailing around on them in a beautiful fashion. Alright, lastly, the third solo, which in my opinion is the best, starts at 517. It starts again with the octaves of the signature motif. Where the solo really takes off, this third solo takes off, is about 6:40. So it's about the last minute of the song. And he comes up and he does the octaves way up here, still on the third and first strings. And we're at the 16th and 19th. And this is hard to play. I won't sugarcoat this. Okay, so you're hitting the 16 and 19. And he does this little pull on, hammer off on the 12th and 13th frets on the first string. But anyway, you're falling from 16, 19 to 12 and 15 the first time, and then the second time you're going to 10 and 13, and then quickly moving it up to 12 and 15. So, and it's really sweet. If you can't play the if you have trouble with that, just play it as a single note. Put your index finger on the 15th fret and just hammer on the 19th. Something like that. It's just beautiful. And then this is the next one it leads into. So you're here, I showed you a little bit of this earlier, you're here on the 12th and 13th frets at the B string, the second string. Okay, so again, just hammer on pull-offs, 12 to 13 and then 12 to 15 on the second string. So just going up to that second box, A minor pentatonic box, 17, 15, 17, 15. Eventually resolves at the 12th fret, 3rd string, the G note, and launches into this other signature lick. He just starts. I don't know how Neil gets that crazy pinch stuff going, but he starts just wailing on that A note again. So we're looking at the 12th and 14th fret on the 3rd string and the 13th and 15th fret on the 2nd string, bending that D note again, that same note we've been bending on the 15th fret of the B string. We're just sliding to 15, 17. Last but certainly not least, the solo, the song ends with these really kind of moaning, crying notes leading down to the F. So when we finally get down there to the F, it goes. There to make that last chord, that last A minor, really sustain, because the ending is very powerful. You gotta have enough there at the end when you're playing Neil Young. So I think that's a fitting note to end the lesson on. Again, with such a long song, so many licks, we're scratching the surface, but I hope I gave you enough there to have some fun with. And I look forward to more lessons, and I hope you'll continue to join me. Thanks for joining me today.